Just as our Imperial Army has its origins in the Clone Wars, so do the rebels, albeit in a different manner. Indeed, rebel infantry bears little resemblance to the Droid Army of yesteryear, yet it is important for you as cadets to understand it. Firstly, you will understand the ever-changing nature of the enemy, and by extension of war, something which your clone subordinates shall often struggle to understand, which is why it is you who shall lead, not them. Which is why it is you who shall lead them. Secondly, there are many valuable lessons one may learn from the separatist army, which proved an implacable and inexhaustible foe. The sheer size of the Droid army was inconceivable, their numbers beyond counting. The fact that separatist commanders were able to effectively deploy these vast numbers effectively demonstrated the virtues of a top-down command structure. Today, the Emperor's might dwarfs that of the separatists, and as an instrument of His Majesty, it is you who must learn to command such a vast array of men and machinery, just as the separatists did. Therefore, we must understand the command structure which allowed them to command such vast numbers. At the start of the Clone Wars, the Droid Army consisted of over 300 million battle droids. These were divided into three forces between Count Dooku, General Grievous, and Asajj Ventress. Even with Republic victories, this number consistently grew to reach into the billions. Of the 100 million under the command of each, generally a full-trained military officer commanded army groups of over 25 million, such as Admiral Trench. They often did so with the assistance of up to 5 advanced tactical droids. Extremely intelligent and resourceful, they made for excellent strategic commanders, and if any remain active today, they are not to be trifled with. These, with their powerful CPU and high RAM capacity, were able to easily command lower tactical droids, which themselves would command armies in the region of 5 million. While well versed in tactical protocols, the battle and battlefield analysis, these droids were extremely rigid in their thinking, and struggled when facing an asymmetric threat. However, in most cases, this was of little concern, and proved largely effective during the war. Below this, the Droid Army varies significantly according to the preferences of a commander and his tactical requirements. However, separatist tactics and unit deployment remained extremely consistent throughout the war. When most civilians think of the Droid Army, they conjure an image of the famous droid assault, with thousands upon thousands of battle droids marching inexorably en masse to attack outnumbered, beleaguered clone defenders. To us, these tactics appear as an absurd waste of valuable military resources by incompetent commanders. In reality, there was a method to this madness. In an assault, the first wave would almost exclusively consist of the B-1 battle droid. Cheap, unintelligent, and fragile, these droids appear almost useless. This is not the case. While inaccurate, their ability to continually advance and shoot even when under fire meant that they were able to effectively suppress enemy positions, and if left unchecked, are more than capable of overwhelming a position. Many an uncautious soldier has fallen victim to these steel skeletons. This brings us to the second wave, the B-2 Super Battle Droid. This formidable machine was the primary heavy infantry unit deployed by the Confederacy. it boasts a fearsome firepower with 2 twin repeating blasters. Other variants exchanged one arm for a arm-mounted rocket launcher or flamethrower or blade weapons. Other variants made use of jetpacks and were the primary EVA unit deployed for hostile boarding actions. When able to fully unleash this formidable firepower at close range, super battle droids proved utterly devastating, easily mowing down whole clone platoons trapped in their positions. And while their firepower was impressive, more critical to the droids was its impressive armor. Able to protect against most small arms, it could only be penetrated by the heavy weapons or a full power shot from the DC-15 rifles. Carbines and pistols were nearly useless against this armor. Therefore, a clone's only hope would be to pick these lumbering titans off from a distance, and it is in this we see the ingenuity of separatist commanders. By placing B-1s in the first wave, they were often able to distract the defenders, allowing the B-2s to close to effective range without being picked off from a distance. 2 other units which were in fact classed as heavy infantry despite their non-humanoid form are the crab and dwarf spider droids. The latter was more frequently deployed, due to its more flexible armament, being a light laser cannon, ideal for suppressing infantry and defeating light armor. The droid itself is well protected by its armored casing. Against all small arms, clones typically resorted to detonators against this diminutive yet deadly foe. The other side of this coin was the crab droid. More compact and specialized for more difficult conditions, it was a pure anti-infantry unit and was more generally deployed to flush out pockets of enemy resistance in highly fortified positions. This brings us then to the deadly Droideka. While numerous models have been produced, they all fill the same role, a defensive heavy infantry, a counterpart to the more offensive B-2 super battle droid. With their shield generators and powerful twin heavy blasters, they could easily stop a foe dead in his tracks, and early in the war could turn charges into routs. Even late in the war, they were a stalwart obstacle, slowing down advances and giving separatist commanders precious breathing room. Finally, the infamous commando droid. Initially deployed as special forces, they became invaluable as light infantry, skirmishing and infiltrating defensive positions, while the main force moved in, and in defensive deployments made for lethal snipers. This concludes our lecture. Many at the time, and some still contend to this day, that such armies are superior to organic soldiers, and are a playground for the most ambitious strategists and tacticians, free of the constraints of commanding mortal men who require food and sleep, and men who will not readily embark on suicidal assaults. Those who hold this belief seem to forget a small detail. The clone army prevailed, not the droid army, and it prevailed in spite of every analyst and statistician. And let this be a lesson to you, cadets. Wars are won by men, not metal.